Look around the world. The minute you lose your gun rights, you lose the ability to defend yourself against a tyrannical government. And when you lose the ability to defend yourself against a tyrannical government, you lose your freedom. And you become a slave to the person that owns you because you cannot defend yourself.
Common sense gun legislation.
Common sense policy about guns.
Common sense gun reforms.
We have to act. We can't wait, take the firearms first, and then go to court.
I don't need to wait another minute to take common sense steps.
So whenever you hear common sense and gun law in the same sentence coming out of a politician's mouth, no matter that politician's on the right or on the left or somewhere in between, what you're about to hear following that sentence is something that makes no sense at all. The ATF Brace Ban should ought to tell you that. You know why I'm not going to talk about that much in this video? The only thing I'm going to say about it is a lot of people are talking about it, and a lot of people are upset about it. I read it, I scanned through it, 293 pages of garbage, but I knew that going into it, it was 293 pages of garbage. Because it was garbage before it even got to the brace ban. Because the NFA shouldn't exist. The whole thing is a complete setup. I'm not just talking about the ATF Brace Ban. I'm talking about all the legislation that has taken place over the years that is now culminating in the loss of our gun rights and the loss of our freedoms in this country. So a lot of people are talking about the ATF and the Brace Ban, and they're all up in arms. Oh, I can't believe they did that. Oh, really? You can't believe the ATF changed their mind? Or you can't believe the ATF went back on something and changed a rule or changed a definition or changed a law? I mean, come on, that is par for the course. The bigger thing we ought to be worried about, I don't know if you've ever even thought about this, but I was explaining this whole situation to my 10-year-old, and he was asking great questions. And you know, it dawned on me that the bigger thing we ought to be all upset about is that we have to lie just to use or to possess the gun that we want to have. Do you know the millions upon hundreds of millions of dollars that are spent in the brace industry for contraptions and things like this just so you can have a short-barreled rifle? That's what ought to really make us mad. Is that we have to lie and say, yeah, I'm going to use this brace on my arm so I can shoulder a weapon. The ATF knows it, we know it, the gun resellers know it, but no one wants to fight for the truth and actually do something about it. That's what ought to upset us. I know we're having a serious discussion, but one of the most important things you can do to help this discussion is make it go viral. You know, YouTube is not very fond of videos like this. But you can change the algorithm. Seriously, you can change the algorithm. It's proven. If you will like this video, share this video, and if you will hit the subscribe button and the bell notification, you can reverse the trend on YouTube. And what that will do is reverse the algorithm. It will pump this video to people who have maybe never even heard of these Second Amendment issues, maybe have never even made the connection to the issues that we're talking about, but they need to hear about it. And so we need videos like this to go viral. YouTube only cares about the money. And so if enough people are interested, it doesn't matter what the topic is. Even if that topic doesn't align with their values, they will let that topic roll if enough people are interested. So like this video, share this video, subscribe to this channel, and more importantly, hit that bell notification so you get notified, but others get notified that videos like this exist. So help the fight. So I want to talk about what no one else is talking about concerning the ATF Brace Ban. And that's the origin of how did we get here? And how do we reverse course? Because if we don't reverse course quickly, you're looking at the end of your gun rights. Literally, you are looking at the end of your rights. And it doesn't stop. The Second Amendment guarantees all the rest of the amendments. It doesn't stop with the Second Amendment. That Second Amendment taken away from you, and it secures all the rest. And so you just might as well put your freedom on a platter and give it up. Because that's what's going to happen. Look around the world. The minute you lose your gun rights, you lose the ability to defend yourself against a tyrannical government. And when you lose the ability to defend yourself against a tyrannical government, you lose your freedom. And you become a slave to the person that owns you. Because you cannot defend yourself. Very quickly, I'm going to break this down into 3 simple points of how we got here. And it's God, guns, and the Second Amendment. You know, our founding fathers in the Declaration of Independence, they wrote some very specific words, and words mean everything. That's what you're battling when you battle the ATF or the FBI or the politicians or the woke community or whatever other thing that has you perplexed right now, or that has you worried right now, or that has you angry right now. It's all about the truth. It's all about that words mean something, and you have to hold people accountable for the words that come out of their mouth. And when those words aren't according to the truth, you know what? Done with the conversation. Let's deal according to the truth, or you don't need to be in office. Let's deal according to the truth, or you don't need to be in charge. Let's deal according to the truth, or you have no right to make any law for me or anyone else. Hey, I know we're having a serious discussion here, but I want to take the time out to thank everybody who corrected me on my flag on one of my last videos that the position was wrong. And honestly, I didn't think about that. And so sincerely, I thank you for correcting me on that. And also, what do you think of my backdrop display? I got some help from the guys at Spartan Mounts. I told them I had ARs laying all over the place in my previous videos, and magazines just kind of stacked up, and I wanted to get some organization to the background. And so let me know what you think about the background. They sent me some cool mounts for my guns and for my magazines. They are a Made in America company, and they have first-rate products. I'm going to put a link to those in the description below. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, that they are endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights. Unalienable rights. That word unalienable, it means not able to be separated. They cannot be taken away. Because they were not given by the government has no right to take them away. It is impossible to take them away. So it begs the question, who gave you your unalienable rights? Now, you may not like the point I'm about to make and drive home, but it's the truth, and you cannot escape it. You have God-given rights that our founding fathers believed in, and that you better hurry up and believe in and fight for if you want to keep them. Unalienable means exactly that. They cannot be taken away from you because they were given by God. The only one that's going to take them away, if He wants to take them away, is God Himself. But if any government or any man has given you those rights, then they have the ability to take them away. But since all men are created equal, there's not a single person that has anything above any other person in this world. And so all of our rights come from God, and every conversation needs to drive back there. It needs to start there. You know why the ATF has 293 pages about a pistol brace that makes absolutely no sense? It drives you mad reading it to say, man, this is illogical. Man, this is just stupid on its face. You know why it's stupid on its face? Because it is stupidity. Because it's illogical. It makes no sense. Because it's not grounded or founded on the truth. And so you better start with God in your conversations and say, hey, you know what? We have unalienable rights, and that means something. And what that means is they cannot be taken away, and you have to drive back there in all of your conversations. When you call your elected officials, when you call your sheriff, when you call your governor, when you call Congress or you call Senate, you need to deal in the truth. When you write a statement through one of the organizations, whether it's Gun Owners of America or whoever else that you have acting on your behalf, you better deal in the truth, because the truth is the only thing that's going to solve the problems right now. And if you don't want the truth, you know what? Then you don't want your rights, you don't want your guns, you don't want your peace, you don't want your freedom, you don't want your life, you don't want liberty, you don't want the pursuit of happiness, none of that. Because that's what those words go on to say that our founding fathers wrote when they declared our independence as a nation, as one nation under God. That we are endowed by our Creator with certain unalienable rights. And among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. And as a law-abiding citizen, I can't own a short barrel rifle without being on some sort of registry or paying somebody $200. That's what we ought to be angry about. And the anger should have started a long time ago. And now we're the frog in the boiling pan of water. And pretty soon it's going to be too late. And so wake up now. We all need to wake up. We need to get on the phone. We need to talk with our neighbors. We need to make it known to the ATF, to the FBI, to everyone out there that you can call that should care about your gun rights and all the rest of your rights. And you know what? If they're elected officials, you need to get them out and elect some that will. Because the whole point of government was written in the Declaration of Independence. Listen to it. That to secure those rights, life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, governments were instituted by men. And that government derives its just power from the consent of the people. That is, we the people. Does that sound familiar? And that when any form of government becomes destructive to these ends, to what ends? Life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, taking away our unalienable rights, it is the right of the people to alter it, kick them out of office, change who's governing so that they govern according to what the people want, or abolish them, get rid of them altogether and start over, and to institute a new government. You know, our form of government, it works according to the founding fathers. But greed and pride and arrogance put people in office and institutionalize government in a huge way where it does not need to be there, where it becomes a swamp, as people have said. But I want to tell you something. You don't get into the swamp without somehow agreeing with the swamp right now. That's how out of control it is. And I don't know if you know anything about draining the swamp, but let me give you an analogy. If you drain a bucket, you don't drain it from the top. You drain it from the bottom. That's right. You drain the swamp from the local level. You start right there in your town, in your city, to drain the swamp. And you get those local elected officials to care, and if they don't care, then you get rid of them and you put in those that will care. And then you move all the way up. So you start at your city, you start at your town, then you go to your county level, then you go up to your governor and to your state representatives. And that's how you make change. That's how you truly drain the swamp. But all of that has to be done according to the truth, and you have to deal in truth. So you have to know what you believe about the truth, and you have to be founded and grounded in the truth. And if you're not, then you're not going to make a change. You're not going to make a difference. You're going to end up just like the other people who are taking away our rights right now. Because God gives us our rights. And if you don't hold God first place, then you're going to lose your rights along with everyone else. That's just the truth. You may not like it, or you may love it. That's irrelevant to me. But what is relevant is that you know where your rights come from. Because you have to know what you have and what you had before you can go get it back. But to get it back, you have to know where they come from. If your rights come from the government or another person, just forget about it. Lay down and die. But if your rights come from a sovereign God who sits in heaven, and that He gives certain rights to all men who are created equal in His image, now you have something to stand on and you have something to fight for. And I would encourage you to do that. So you start with God. Then let's move to guns and the Second Amendment. Because the Second Amendment and guns are only as important as what they're based upon. You see, we have the right to defend ourselves, and we have the right to bear arms. We have the right to not only defend ourselves personally in personal defense situations, but we have the right, more importantly in this situation, to defend ourselves from a tyrannical government. You know the text of the Second Amendment very well, probably, if you're watching this video. A well-regulated militia being necessary to the security of a free state. The right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. We throw that around on t-shirts. We throw it around on plaques, on walls. We say it, but do you actually believe it? And if you believe it, do you know where it came from? Because as I just simply stated before, if it came from men, you're done for. Lay down and die. But if it came from God, and you have a God-given right to defend yourself and those you love, and you have a God-given right to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, and you have the God-given right to defend yourself against a tyrannical government, now you have something to stand for. And you have someone greater in your corner than just the guy next to you. We the people. But we the people created in the image of God who has given us these rights. You know, our founding fathers knew that. And our founding fathers were men of integrity and men with moral compasses that we don't see by and large today in America. And we need to return to that. And if you're not willing to return to that, then you know what? Like I said, give up your rights. It's over. But the truth and the facts of the matter are, we have been given rights. And we should be upset not when the ATF changes their mind or talks nonsensical or illogical. We should be mad that the truth, wholesale, in America has been thrown out. So at the end of the day, all the things you see in the news and on social media about people being upset about their Second Amendment rights because of the ATF, the FBI, government officials, or gun control laws, it's all a setup. Because what you need to do is see right through those and go straight to the point of truth and the basis for the truth. That's where the argument needs to begin. With all of the issues of life, that's where the argument needs to begin. And that's where you'll get somewhere, and that's where you'll start making headway. And that's where you can drain the swamp from the bottom on up to the top. Don't think you're going to elect somebody in onto the top who's going to drain the swamp from the top down. It's a physical impossibility. It has to be drained from the bottom on up, because that's how it was built, and that's how it's going to be replaced. But understanding and preserving the Second Amendment is paramount to our survival and the keeping of our freedoms. And you have to understand it in this context. And by the way, supporting channels like this help keep us in the fight for the Second Amendment. One of the best ways you can support this channel is go down and get yourself a cool t-shirt like this, or one of the other many cool t-shirts we have. You can see those down in the store below or down in the links in the description below. As always, I want to thank you for taking the time to watch this video. Thank you for making the choice to defend yourself and those you love. And God bless you and yours.